Vanadium comes out of nowhere. Well, I mean, can we really say nowhere? It's been topping, but I feel like it's a lot more in between in a lot of this standard metagame. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more off content. The Houston Regional Breakdown is here, and this is kind of interesting. We have double Labyrinth and double Unchained, two natural-born enemies out here in the world of back row decks, actually succeeding with each other here. And I think that's pretty interesting. The fact that, you know, we have these two contenders that have been doing very, very strong in the meta is very interesting. But, you know, the most interesting thing about that is neither of these won the regional. The regional was actually won by Purely, of all things. And the fact that Purely was kind of able to come out ahead of the meta was actually kind of cool to see. Once again, I mean, let's be honest here for a second. I mean, if you don't know how to play against Purely at this point in time, and you know you're losing to them sucking up things from your graveyard, you know, the big giant cat, you know Exceed Encore is a card. It is something that duelists have been playing. It's not like it's a total secret at this point in time. That's, you got to be aware of this. Now, we also had Rescue Ace in the top cut. I'm not all that surprised. We actually don't have that Rescue Ace duelist list, but if I had to assume, like the rest of the meta, it's probably 6 books, you know, and then, you know, the ability to climb up through the extra deck and then pressure the opponent to win the game. Pretty standard stuff. We also have Dragon Link. That deck has been a pretty consistent thing. I think as long as Magna Hut is running around as a 3-of, I think we're going to continue to see that deck be a challenger in the meta. And we also had Vanadium. Now, Vanadium actually ended up in 2nd place out of this regional, which is incredible at the end of the day. Outside of that, I mean, your regional breakdown, it's incredibly standard, except for there was no Kashtira in the top cut of this event. I think those are the things that you want to hear, right? No Kashtira? That's a good Kashtira. Let's pass on over to the breakdown for deck list. All right, so our first place Purely deck here. We're on 5 books. Yeah, I don't want my opponent playing the game either. Or, you know, oh boy, I'm sorry, you tried to summon a monster, and now it's face down. The best way that I like handling my troublesome cards. I also like the fact that a lot of these Purely decks have been adapting towards summon limit in the side deck. You know how annoying that this card is if you're a deck that, you know, can't play around this? Especially when they can flip it and they're like, oh, sorry, man, like, you can't play around it anymore. Like, that's rough. I mean, it's not like people really play Nightmare Phoenix anymore to get into these extra deck outs and start tearing these things apart. So, very, very interesting at the end of the day what these tech options are bringing to the table and what we're seeing in terms of the interesting things. Like, it just proves that people just are not prepared for some of the ideas that are coming out here. So, yeah, very, very interesting there. Next up is our Vanadium Scareclaw deck. And I call it Vanadium Scareclaw, but I mean, let's be honest here, you're just playing the Reinhardt with the Ryctophobia to search out this. I mean, hey, look, I can link one into my Scareclaw, and I can do Scareclaw combo, yay! And then, you know, it's just free synchro things at the end of the day. The biggest things about this list that people are going to have a little bit of a hard time processing, yes, we are playing Altamaya Tzolk'in, yes, we are playing the Crimson Dragon, and of course, we are playing the Hot Red King Calamity here. This is a very unfun deck. You you just Calamity lock your opponent. That's all it is. We are in a Book of Moon format, so there are a little bit of ways to try to play around this, but the fact that you have ways to just not really care, I think is pretty crucial. I mean, look at this. This deck also plays the unfun cards here. You flip this, you look at your opponent and go, well, you know, I really wish that you were better at the game than you actually are. We are playing one shifter down here for the crossout. The fact that, you know, we're boarding into crossout. Also, this deck is getting away with, I think this is the most amazing part about this, 3 Drolls and 3 Imperms. But you've also got receptive going second cards like the books and the talents here. So you're trying to cover your bases as much as you can with this. You could make an argument, hey, maybe we could board in some of these hand traps, maybe we could see the Crows. Crows also been gaining a little bit more popularity as of late. I don't think a lot of people have caught on to this just yet, but this is something that has been cawing around in the meta. Outside of that, deck looks incredibly fun. If you're a combo player and you've been wanting to, get down some ratios or figure out, the best optimal build, this might be something for you to really give some consideration to. Next up here, we have Durgan Link, and we are not doing the Meteor Flare plays, honestly. We have seen that the Meteor Flare with the Gamma has gained a decent amount of popularity, but this build just opted to amputate it, all right? Like, there's no real point in trying to include the package. It does help, but we're not seeing that here. I see that we are also playing the Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Yeah, making sure that your opponent loses their spells and traps. It's pretty good. I actually assume that this was incredibly useful throughout the course of the tournament, considering the fact that there were so many Labyrinth / other players that were playing back row for the tournament. So, good stuff. Also, the fact that the books are down here in the side deck. Most of these people have been main decking Book of Eclipse for this matchup, and with this deck. So to see that this has been spaced out down to the side deck, okay, a little bit interesting. Outside of that, okay. Next up here, we have Unchained, and you see straight away, there's our favorite card in the whole wide world, the Book of Eclipse. Somebody's going to give me so much crap eventually for emphasizing book as much as I can. The fact we've also got the tour guides in here as well. Hey, tour guide, how are you? It's the best thing in the whole wide world is the ability to go ahead and toggle through, your deck and special summon out all of your friends. I do want to give a shout out down here to Skill Drain. We have been noticing that the Unchained variants have been ramping up here with Skill Drain in the side deck. And I mean, the reason for that is you don't give two craps about your monsters, all right? Like, most of them are all floaters anyway. Congratulations, they usually serve their purpose once they're up. So you can go ahead and blink an entire field and not care, all right? Or you're able to, watch your effect resolve if you really need to by flipping it face down. Little niche rulings for 500 that really still matter, but pretty cool. All right, what else we got back here? Oh, we got some more Unchained. Wow, the ratios really do change. Not really. The Unchained builds are so straightforward, man. Like, congratulations. Your checklist is, what hand traps are we playing? Oh, you're definitely playing 3-1 of this. You're not extending through this. You're probably playing the tour guide, as you should with the Fiendish Rhino. And congratulations. You have some sort of defensive plays. You opt for the pots if you have them. I mean, builds have been playing the Abominations and the books with no pots. And then, your side deck is geared towards whatever additional lines that you need to play. And then you decide on the check mark, am I playing Deuce Machina or am I playing Zeus? I mean, like, I think I just summarized the entire experience for you playing this deck. You have your tech choices, you make them, and they usually will work out for you. Unchained has been such a strong deck this meta that I know people are amazed that this deck has been sitting at the dinner table for as long as it is, but people just don't know how to play around it. And I mean, everybody's a floater, effectively. They all say, hey, when this card is destroyed, do something. Shifter does not hurt this deck. A lot of the other things in the meta that would be strong outs to this, deck's just kind of ignorant turbo towards. Now, Arise Heart sucking up things face down can hurt, but I mean, this deck usually has enough gas to combo through and not care. And our last list here is some Labyrinth for you. Now, you're going to notice something about the main deck here. There's no Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Aaron opted to not main deck it, and I think that's fine. We're also playing the Pot of Extravagance in here as well. You do want to make sure that you can generate draw power. I mean, people do look at Pot of Prosperity as something to play in this, but I think overall, since we are playing more of the furniture in here, the draw is more useful than the latter half. I mean, we do play the one Pot of Prosperity for sure, but you get some pretty interesting tech choices here. Also, shout out to Skill Drain, being an insane card. Guess what? When your back row deck can play, one of the best interruptions in the game, you have Terrors of the Overroot, sign the field spell. I understand that. I mean, the Field Spell is an incredibly good card, but there's some matchups that you just don't want to see this card. You're like, get it away from me. Same thing with, I mean, you have Super Polys here to clean up any sort of thing, but you don't want to see this in the main deck all the time. You have plenty of cards to try to cover your bases, and I like that, actually. So, that is your wrap-up here for the Texas Regional. I like what I'm seeing. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.